welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated to CBS's Big Brother Season 22 All-Stars. Now, just like all my other videos, the first part of this video will be going over a review and recap of what we just saw on the most recent episode of Big Brother All-Stars, and then I'll give a hand motion signifying us going into live feed updates. So with that being said, let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Tyler won HOH for the week, and everybody's super stoked about it, especially Danny and Cody are celebrating that Janelle and Kaysar are most likely going up for nominations, and one of them will be eliminated from the game this week. Now, they were worried before the HOH competition earlier on last week. They decided that Cody, Tyler, and Enzo would bring in Devon, Bailey, and Danny and create the Slick Six Alliance, mainly for no other purposes, it seems, except for one, covering their backs just in case if they had won HOH this week, and two, taking away numbers from Janelle and Kaysar. Now let's move on to Tyler's first order of HOH, and that is gathering everybody in the living room so that the have-nots can pick the new have-nots for the week. Now David is up first. He really wants to pick Memphis, kind of give him like a little nudge back about what happened last week and the previous week where Memphis made him a have-not and nominated him. However, he didn't want to do that because he wanted to show that he is a caring individual, and Enzo volunteered. I really wish that David would have made Memphis a have-not, but that just was not in the cards. Kaysar was asking to see if anybody would volunteer. Cody volunteered for that. Christmas already had a conversation with Bailey earlier on in the week prior, and Bailey said, yeah, pick me, I'll be a have-not. So Christmas picked Bailey, and then Nicole F, or Nicole, now that Nicole A is out, just Nicole said that she wanted to pick Janelle, and she said, in quotes, she wanted to pick somebody who hasn't done it before and likes to talk about me, and then says Janelle, and then Nicole wants to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. Ooh, did I say that? I totally did not have that planned. Janelle loves confrontation. If you have not seen her prior seasons, she loves to call people out. She does. I will say that Janelle was a lot more restrained than what she would have done, like say in BB6 or BB7 back in the day. She would have went ham on Nicole. Janelle and Kaysar talk to Memphis, and they think that, okay, we're definitely gonna go on the block. We need somebody who's in the safety suite to possibly save one of us, and then one of us could win the veto, and that's the way that both of us can stay in the game. When they talk to Memphis about the safety suite though, Memphis is like not looking at them, not making eye contact. Janelle, who's very perceptive, is like, okay, yeah, he's lying to us. He's just gonna throw it, whatever. He's not gonna save us whatsoever. We have a little bit of bidet talk as Enzo gets spritzed and then just gets up and walks out, and there's just water all over the place, and Cody is like yelling at him and joking, and they're all laughing about it. But I mean, seriously, who like has water just coming out of the toilet and something happens and then you just walk away from it? It just is weird. And this like plays into the whole Enzo thing. Enzo is like, I know they haven't shown it on the show, but in the live feeds he eats every meal on a thing of tinfoil because it's easier to clean up. He doesn't want to use plates, he wants to use tinfoil. One night he was eating a salad on tinfoil because he could just crumple it up and throw it away. It's a massive waste of tinfoil. Then we get a blast from the past, seeing where Janelle and Kaysar first met on BB6, how they struck up a friendship on that season, and now we're getting them in this house, and we just see that friendship just flourishing yet again. It's like they never left the Big Brother house, never left the Big Brother game. We get a nice montage, and it's just really fun. It was funny. It was a very fun segment. Tyler tells Cody and Christmas that he's definitely putting up Janelle and Kaysar. Now, in the previous week, Janelle and Kaysar were really trying to get everybody from Devon, Bailey, and Kevin together and really talk about, hey, there's something going on the other side of the house. This is the lowdown. This is who's aligned. This is who's we've seen talking together, and we really need to work together if we have a chance of making it far in this game. And as they're talking in the love room, Danny is walking by. She's listening in, and now heading into the present where she's talking to Tyler, she's talking like, hey, we need to like worry about Devon. She has her foot in both camps. So this is what Danny's game plan is doing. She is already set up that Janelle and Kaysar are super threats, and that the next 2 weeks are planned. That Janelle will probably walk out this week, Kaysar would be out next week, and then she has to start setting up the next targets for the next week, the third week. And so she's already setting it up and putting it in everybody's mind, planting the seeds that Devon is one to worry about, and that she needs to be taken out sooner rather than later, because she would take a shot at our group before anybody else. So that's pretty much a running pattern or running theme for this week. We move on to the safety suite portion of this week, which it doesn't really mean much for this week because all the 4 people that can play, Enzo, Nicole, Danny, and Memphis, are pretty much in alliance together. Tyler is HOH. There's no worry that they're gonna even be like close to being nominated this week. But the safety suite this week is them having to do like this like Mission Impossible laser walking around a room to get a giant ball of safety and then bring it back on the other side of the room. The person that do this the quickest wins and gets to pick somebody to bring in as their +1 in the safety suite, and they get a punishment. Well, Nicole goes. She is horrific at this, like really bad. Memphis is doing it. He seems to be doing well. And then he decides to take a page out of his own strategy of actually playing Big Brother and just sit around and not do much. And Enzo and Danny do their thing, trying to lock up this competition. We get the final results. Nicole is well over 15 minutes. Memphis, even just sitting on the ball and waiting for time to tick by, does 14 minutes and does better than Nicole. Enzo gets 4 minutes and 41 seconds, and Danny just is over 6 minutes, meaning Enzo wins. And despite his Slick 6 Alliance member coming to him in Devon saying, hey, give me the safety suite, a punishment, I want to be punished. Also, I want to be safe this week. And despite that being the case, he decides to pick Christmas, who won the safety suite last week, and now she's going to get a punishment, and she is safe. And this is also another ploy for Enzo to rope in another person into his alliance with Cody, with Tyler. So that's mainly why he picked Christmas. Now Tyler talks with Janelle and Kaysar. I mean, I know he's HOH, I know he has a big alliance, but he is feeling himself a little too much in this episode, calling Kaysar like a sad puppy who knows he did something wrong. I mean, did he do something wrong, or did he find out your alliance? Like, I don't know. To me, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit how Tyler was talking about Kaysar in the DR. They talk, it's a conversation that goes nowhere. The same with Janelle. Big Brother just uses this conversation and the editing techniques to make it seem like, oh, something could happen, something different than what you think is gonna happen. False, it didn't. He nominates both Janelle and Kaysar. They are up on the block. They will be fighting for veto, and we'll see if one of them can win, take themselves off the block. And that is where this episode ends. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about the whole bidet thing? What do you think about the safety suite comp? What do you think about Enzo picking Christmas for his +1? Let me know that in the comment section below. Now I'm going to go into the live feed updates. We're going to be talking about veto players, and all that good stuff. Now let's get into the veto competition. The players picked for veto were Tyler, Janelle, Kaysar, Bailey, Cody, and Memphis. Cody won veto. It had something to do with cupcakes. He's going to keep the nominations the same, and the main target for this week is Janelle. So it seems as though that Janelle is going to be the one walking out of this house. That is the third female to leave this house in 3 weeks. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. And now Danny is talking mad smack about Devon, who in turn, they're all talking about Devon and Bailey as a pair. So this could be really terrible for the women of the house and the game in general, because if everything goes the way that it's talking about right now, Janelle would go out this week, then Kaysar would be the target for next week if everything stays the same as what they're talking about. Then it would probably be Devon being the target, and then possibly Bailey. If Danny had her way, it would be Devon, then Bailey, and that's horrific. That's a horrific game to be watching if we're having 5 women in 6 weeks leave this game. That's absolutely ridiculous. And earlier on this week, everybody was talking, they were kind of joking around, and Nicole and everybody were talking about Devon and David kind of being in a showmance relationship, or a budding showmance. And Bailey made the joke that Nicole It only took her a few tries and a few guys to actually win the game of Big Brother, which ultimately led to Nicole feeling bad about herself, and she cried a lot. She cried to multiple people about this, to Devon, to Danny. Then we have Enzo talking to the guys like Cody and Tyler, talking about the ladies of their alliances, saying that they need to win to quote unquote earn their keep. Come on, man, really? Like, that's ridiculous. You win 2 comps and you think you're like the head honcho of this game. You finished 3rd on your season and you were never gonna make it to Final 2 or win that season. Whatever, like, go eat your food on tinfoil. Devon and Bailey were talking in the Have Not room last night, and they were talking and figuring out the other side of the house. They were talking that possibly, maybe Janelle was right about the 4 people in an alliance together of Cody, Tyler, Danny, and Nicole, but possibly maybe they were wrong about Tyler and now Enzo is part of that foursome, or Enzo just has his hand in every single cookie jar of this house, meaning he shouldn't win HOH because then he has to pick a side and that would just completely blow up his game. And Devon called Enzo and Cody the quote-unquote hitman of this season, and that's the Cody and Derek of this season. Bailey wholeheartedly agrees, and they both agreed that they are trying to rope in Christmas to whatever alliance that they've made or are making, and that's why Enzo used the safety suite on Christmas. And then Bailey mentioned to Devon that even though they made the Slick 6 alliance, that once Janelle and Kaser are gone, that they could be the ones that are targeted by that group because they don't feel as though that they're in the alliance as close as, say, Nicole. That Nicole will be saved by Danny, by Ian, by Cody, who all have a stronger bond with Nicole on a personal level. So they feel as though that they really need to win HOH this week, or they could possibly be on the block. They also said that they noticed that Nicole and Christmas are very, very close. So even though Bailey has been talking a lot to Christmas, trying to rope her in, that Christmas and her have not really talked game whatsoever, and that they've noticed that Nicole and Christmas are really, really close. So Devon and Bailey are really feeling like they are on the outs of the house, and that they really need to win head of household so that they both know that they are safe for the week, and that maybe they will get into a more solid alliance with that power. As it stands right now, Cody, who won the veto, will not use it. Janelle is the target, and it has a 98% chance that she is going to be walking out of the Big Brother house this week. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with alliance talks and what's gonna happen in the next HOH comp. But that is it for this video. What do you think about everything that's happening in this house? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think is gonna happen in the next HOH comp? Do you think Janelle is actually going to be leaving, or do you think the votes will switch to get Kaser out this week? Let me know that in the comment section below. And who are you rooting for heading into the next week of Big Brother? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more Big Brother content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.